Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Bullion. Our guest today is the founder and CEO of Swan Bitcoin, Cory Klippsten. Cory, welcome to the channel.
Hey, Ivan, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is your first time, so I kind of want you to briefly introduce yourself. How'd you get into the space you're in right now? And yeah, introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, Cory Klippsten, founder and CEO of Swan Bitcoin, the real Bitcoin company. We focus on Bitcoin investing solutions and products for leaders of families and businesses. So, you can think of it like obviously brokerage, savings plans, retirement accounts, three flavors of custody, asset-backed loans. We have an RIA, just kind of on and on. So once you actually start to get into Bitcoin and you want the real thing, not just paper exposure through an ETF, most of those people come toward us. So we've been in the game for a while. Started the company in 2019, launched early 2020. As far as my background, I used to work for big companies, worked for Microsoft, Morgan Stanley, McKinsey, Google,
Oh,
Chicago
wow.
Finance MBA 21 years ago. So been around for a while, since the late 90s. And, big fan of history, big fan of economics, kind of spend a lot of my own personal time on both subjects. And so, the corporate name, I think your audience will probably appreciate this. The corporate name for Swan, the actual entity is called Electric Solidus.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, the longest running, most successful coin of Roman times.
Now, I'm gonna ask you some hard-hitting questions because, of course, this is a silver and gold community. A lot of people in the investing community as well in this channel. But there's a majority of people in this community or in the silver and gold community who, uh, I guess, don't believe so much in cryptos and bitcoins, and they like the hard assets. So, my first question to you, Cory, is, gold has had that 5,000 year history of wealth preservation, while Bitcoin is been around for 15 to 20 years. What gives you confidence that crypto can compete with gold with a longer track record?
So first off, you guys are all mostly right. Crypto is garbage. Bitcoin is very different from these altcoins that are created by companies, marketed by companies, and then dumped on retail. That maybe are at best some kind of venture bet that's funded with non-dilutive, non-equity ownership, but just doesn't have any rights. The investors have no rights as they go and try to build tech. And if, as you've seen with some of these companies like Consensus or Ripple, like if they build valuable businesses, none of that accrues to the token. Has nothing to
Hmm.
do with it. It's completely fugazi, fake. Bitcoin. Bitcoin, the way to think about Bitcoin, and this maybe will help. And by the way, I'm a gold appreciator, and my dad was a gold bug, and
Nice.
like likes it. And so I'm not unappreciative, and I think that we were better off under a gold standard than under just the fiat BS of the last few decades, or depending on whether you consider that the creation of the Fed as the start of that, or maybe 1971 as being kind of the final straw that broke the camel's back. But we've
Hmm.
obviously been, the global monetary protocol has been awful and fake ever since.
Hmm.
Um, and so here's one way to look at it, and I'm going to come at this two ways, and I think this might help. So first, I'm going to suggest that if you've never read about Bitcoin at all, I think the best introductory resource to the subject is called Inventing Bitcoin. It's only 2 hours. You can get it for free, either listen to it or read it. We offer both for free. My co-founder wrote it. That's why I went and hunted him down because it's so
Nice.
damn good. So if you go to swan.com/free book, you can pick that up for free, and let me know what you think about it. Get in touch through Ivan or whatever. But the first thing I'll say is gold is, I like to call it, God's money or nature's money. Like it was here for us already, and it has the best properties of any other element on earth to be money. And that's why it's not a shared belief, it's a shared recognition that it
Hmm.
that it was better money, and that's why it ended up dominating
Right.
historically for many millennia, right? um, and it's really, really good at storing value across time, right? At transferring value across time. This is the
Right.
whole thing about, you can buy a nice suit on Savile Row for 1 ounce of gold, just like you could 300 years ago.
Right.
You know, maybe slightly nicer after the last few months, but
Oh yeah.
the point kind of stands.
Right.
But it's really not good at transferring value across space because it's heavy. It can be confiscated. It has to be assayed. It can be faked if you're not careful. You're not going to roll around and shave off a few. So it ends up basically money ends up when it has a base layer like gold, it ends up being at risk of rehypothecation. It's
Hmm.
just too hard for people not to go fractional reserve. And then once you go that route, it's kind of inevitable that it ended up where it did
Right.
with mass rehypothecation and paper gains. And it's because you can't transfer the physical easily across space. Now, fiat, or whether it's paper money or digital money, but fiat, the government's money, not God's money or nature's money. It's the government's money, right?
Right.
Literally. They print it out of thin air, and it's horrible at transferring value across time, as we know. The purchasing power of the dollar is down 98, 99% in 50, 55 years.
Hmm.
And that's the best. All the other fiat currencies are worse, which is brutal. It's really good at transferring value across space. You can just whip these things around on Swift or Venmo or PayPal, or, if you really need to drop a truckload of cash into certain areas of Iraq or Eastern Turkey, like you can do that, et cetera. So, it's pretty easy to transfer that across space. Um, from a technology standpoint, leave aside whether you actually believe in Bitcoin, like it actually just doesn't really matter. But if Bitcoin continues on the path that it's on and becomes a very large market cap asset over time, then you, for the first time, have a monetary technology. You have a money that is fantastic at transferring value across both time and space.
Hmm.
And so it's that fourth quadrant on the efficient frontier where it's actually better on both dimensions than gold and fiat. And really, the only thing it lacks versus gold is just history, right? And that can only be done with passage of time. And that's why I tell people, have a little patience. Even when it came to things that weren't as big as the global monetary protocol through which all economic activity will be coordinated,
Hmm.
major institutional, major technological revolutions take 50 to 80 years for full install anyway. So
Right.
whether that was, electricity or the rise of the automobile, or, we're probably still in the latter stages of the information technology revolution, and AI is probably not a new one. It's probably just like the latest stage of something that started when the first chip rolled off an Intel fab line, interestingly in 1971. So that's kind of when this era, this latest technological innovation era, kicked off, I think, with that. So I don't think that you're going to see basically most of the fiats die, and Bitcoin just kind of recognized as dominant at least 50 years after the launch. The launch was 2009, so you're looking at 2060.
Right.
So just like zoom the hell out, man. I mean, we are blessed to be able to watch this a little bit and
Oh
maybe to
yeah.
be able to buy some. And I do think that gold fans should buy a little bit of Bitcoin, if just to have selective attention and selective perception for the content and the education around it, so that you can start to learn something about it and
Right.
understand, it's not just digital gold, it's also programmable money. And there are a lot of reasons why you would want this. Absolute scarcity can never be more than 21 million. Nobody can ever change that. The difficulty adjustment, which I think was the only new element that was added. There were, 8 or 9 things you had to combine to make Bitcoin. The only one that Satoshi came up with that was new was the difficulty adjustment, which basically means, you always mine the same, about the same amount of Bitcoin every 2 weeks gets mined,
Right.
or every 10 minutes if you look at it that way. So yeah, anyway, I can pause there. You probably have
No,
some
no.
other
Yeah,
questions
no,
in mind.
hello, my fellow silver and gold stackers. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It will really help the silver and gold community grow. It'll help this channel grow, and I'd really appreciate it. Back to the video. That's fantastic. I really love that explanation. That actually opens up our brain like a lot more so we can get more educated on it. Now, Corey, both gold and Bitcoin, they attract investors when faith in currency weakens, of course. Do you think they complement each other in a portfolio, or are they competing for the same capital?
So it's a bit of both, because I think we all have kind of the same thesis that fiat sucks and it's
Yeah.
unfair. And it's a great way to just, line your pockets and grift. It's not very different from, I mean, printing fiat is the same as printing these shit coins,
Oh yeah.
right? And I don't like the non-Bitcoin cryptos for the same reason I don't like fiat. It's an insider's game, and the Cantillon effect is in full effect,
Yeah.
where the people at the top get the money before it debases, right? So they get to
Right.
spend it before inflation takes root and is affected by that printing. Um, and so, in that respect, we should all have plenty of respect for each other. So this is much more like brothers fighting or cousins fighting. It's still, it's me against my brother, but me and my brother against the other guys in the village and people in our village against the neighboring state or something, right?
Right.
So I think we are close cousins. I do think, in particular, for like if you're a really hardcore Bitcoiner in your north of 60, it's totally reasonable to hedge that with some gold.
Hmm.
20% of your if you call it like a hard money portfolio, or the hard money section of your portfolio that has things like Bitcoin and gold in it. Like, even if you're the biggest nutball, if you're older and you're worried about volatility, like, why not also hold a little bit in the lower volatility asset? And, your Sharpe ratio probably improves a tiny bit through the diversification.
Right.
Um, if you're younger, and you're really into Bitcoin, I don't think it matters. So, if you think you have, a 20 plus year time horizon, I don't think you need to hold gold unless you love it and like it.
Right.
So even though I appreciate it, like, I personally don't own any, and I don't feel any like existential need to own it. But then again, I study Bitcoin so much, I have a lot more conviction. I'm much more certain that I'm right than someone that doesn't spend as much time on it as I do. And so
Right.
I completely understand diversification if you don't have like a crazy strong thesis. Like, I got a buddy that just was so deep on Tesla so early, like, he just knew.
He
And so
knew.
yeah, he just knew. He just
Yeah.
knew. And he loaded up, with, two digit pre-split Tesla stock because
Wow.
he had a Tesla related startup. And so he was already reading the forums every day because of the thing he was doing. He had
Right.
like a regional bus service built on Model X's, basically.
Wow.
Um, but he didn't end up making a bunch of money from the startup. He made money because he had so much knowledge and so much conviction on the company and the stock. Now, what he was able to survive was there was keyman risk the whole time, and still is, with Elon. And so you're still at the whim. The nice thing about Bitcoin is it's a similarly asymmetric bet with, frankly, a lot more upside than a single company. Uh, and like gold, there's no single owner. There's no one controlling it. It's a decentralized mining industry, and it's distributed ownership, and nobody can really control it. So I
Hmm.
think I think both are good. And by the way, and I think all of you guys, the gold sellers, like, I'm homies with Franklin. I'm
Oh,
homies
no
with
way. Nice.
yeah, like, yeah. I'm talking to Michelle and Andy later today.
Cool, cool.
We've always done lots of work with Kitco. We have them at our conferences, like, and we do have a lot of clients at Swan that have a lot of gold, and we help them kind of just understand it in context. And we're the place that they're hedging their gold exposure, and they're buying 10 or 20% of their sound money portfolio. They're putting that into Bitcoin.
Welcome to the Cayman Islands, a premier offshore jurisdiction where natural beauty meets financial stability. Here, your wealth is more than secure. It thrives in one of the most trusted and respected financial centers in the world. For over a decade, SWP has been the trusted choice for precious metal investors worldwide. Our purpose-built 6,000 square foot facility sets a new standard in precious metals storage. We are proud to be one of the only vault operators approved by the London Bullion Market Association. Beyond safeguarding your assets, we're committed to making a difference in our community by supporting local causes and events that reflect our values. As we continue to expand and innovate our services, we ensure that your wealth is safe and strategically positioned to shield you from the uncertainties that lie ahead. Strategic wealth preservation, trusted today and ready for tomorrow.
Bitcoin.
Wow, now that's fantastic. See, I do feel like Bitcoin specifically does complement gold and the precious metals market, and they both have the same reasons. Like the Bitcoin crowd, they're 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 buying Bitcoin for the same reasons to get away from fiat currency, same
Yep.
as the gold. So we're on the same page. So yeah,
Yep.
it's really nice to learn from you, Corey, and you speak into the precious metals community. Now, where can people find you? I'm going to put your link in the description below, but where can they connect with you?
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
Yeah, so it's just my full name on Twitter, Cory Klippsten, and the company handle is Swan, SWAN. So you can follow me and there on X, I should say, and swan.com. And if you want to hear more from us, we put out a lot of great research and really high quality educational material. We're not mindless boosters. I'm the guy that, tears apart the fake models and explains why the math is fake and wrong, and
Nice.
tries to provide signal in the space. So you're never going to get any of that, like, stock to flow model bullshit or like
Right.
power law bullshit from me. We're the ones that expose that for being fugazi. So yeah, I think we try to say how it is, which is why, we can cheer you guys on. You guys like to
Yeah.
call us digital gold. Like, I'm a fan of analog Bitcoin.
Hey, I'll take it. You know what? I'll take the compliments. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I really appreciate you coming down, Corey. It's been a huge pleasure. I know it's your first time, but hopefully not the last because, as the markets develop and everything's moving so quick, love to have you back on. Everyone watching this, highly recommend you go follow Swan, go follow Corey, follow their work. And Corey, again, thank you so much for coming down.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Ivan.
Talk to you soon.